Hi, Clutter Fairy fans. This is the Clutter Fairy Weekly for October 31st, 2023. I'm your co-host, Ed Gumnick, and I'm speaking with Gayle Goddard, certified professional organizer and owner of the Clutter Fairy in Houston, Texas.
Hi, everybody. The Clutter Fairy Weekly is the webcast and podcast that digs deep into the clutter that piles up between you and the life that you want to be living. We explore the habits and behaviors that lead to clutter, and we suggest strategies to slow the accumulation, reduce the collection, and comfortably manage the stuff we decide to keep.
If you're new to our Zoom meeting, we want to let you know that you can share your comments and questions via the chat feature, and I'll try to make sure Gayle addresses them before we move on to another topic. You can also use the raise hand feature if you'd like to ask a question or make a comment yourself via audio or video. And we're streaming the webcast live on Facebook, so you can share your questions and comments there, and I'll relay them to Gayle. We're going to start by recapping last week's Weekly Tittle, which was called Junk in the Trunk. The assignment was to evaluate an item in your space to decide whether you still want or need it for the journey you're on. Let's hear from our participants in Zoom and on Facebook. Who test drove our driving metaphor tittle this week? Please let us know in the comments. YouTube viewer Lest We Forget shared a report in a comment on last week's video. Lest writes, "My battery was running down until today, so I put my foot down and accelerated out of Malaise Street. Got rid of a couple of biggish items that were being saved in case they were needed." That "in case they were needed" was in quotation marks.
Right.
Working on a full tank again now.
Big congrats on getting rid of some big things to make a big dent. And thanks for helping with the metaphor, especially like the use of Malaise Street there. That was really good. Thank you. Excellent job.
I think my first apartment after college was on Malaise
Malaise
Street, but that was a separate issue. I wanted to give at least an honorable mention to another commenter for this great contribution to our ongoing metaphor of the road trip. Boppity Boopy wrote, "You are the perfect tour guide for this decluttering journey. I can see the destination. As an artist, I feel trepidation with projects I have used to keep me trucking forward. Your laughter helps me realize not to take this journey so seriously and to enjoy the ride. Thank you for your excellent podcast."
How kind of you. Thank you for that. We got a big kick out of the road trip metaphor to both of us. Ed and I are happy to be the tour guides who giggle throughout the trip so you can have fun along the way. We know that decluttering is a chore that needs to be done, but isn't inherently fun to do. So anything that livens up the journey can help you keep going. Thanks, and we'll keep laughing over here to support you.
Yes, we will. Let's see if we got any tittle responses in here.
That was so funny.
This one doesn't sound like a tittle response, but it's progress.
Okay.
Deirdre says, "I am getting rid of dried bananas that are over 10 years old."
Oh, wow. Where did you keep bananas dried for 10 years? Man.
I'm assuming they were, dried on purpose, not just left somewhere and forgotten.
Oh, okay. In my head, I'm thinking, black bananas in the freezer, right? That somebody puts in the freezer for banana bread, but I'm guessing no. You're probably right.
They will dry
chips,
eventually,
right?
Yeah. Catherine reports that the closest she got to the tittle was trunk and treat.
Treat? What?
Trunk or treat are those the a lot of churches organize them or public. There was one at our little city park recently where people come and do trick or treat out of the trunk of their car.
So I see.
Kids only have to wander around a parking lot instead of
a million
streets in the night. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you for clearing that up. I clearly have never heard of that one before.
You haven't heard of trunk or treat?
No.
It's very, very popular here, and I think it's probably very, very popular, like specifically in the town we're living in, probably because there are no sidewalks. So trick-or-treating on streets is a little dangerous.
Well, and it's very hilly, like it's super, mountainous, and all the streets are going up and down all the time. It'd be a nightmare to go up and down all that to go trick-or-treating.
It's a little
With
treacherous.
little kids, they'd run out of steam real fast.
M shared, using the concept of preparing for a trip, I could see the clutter easier.
Oh,
Thank you. I will be using the metaphor regularly now.
that's great. It did lend itself very perfectly, right? Like all of the things that we wanted to talk about, we could come up with road trip language to support it. It just really worked very well. I'm glad that it's going to be helpful to you.
We should put out a challenge, to ask people to give us the next metaphor they want us to beat to death.
To belabor.
Connie says, I just sorted through our Christmas decorations, took out items I'm willing to pass along, took photos of them, and sent to nieces for first pick before I donate the rest.
Excellent. Good job. Let the family look at it and then move it along. Good for you.
Rejoice says, trunk or treat is really popular in my area right now. People decorate their car trunks and the kids in costume visit each car. I think I'd heard that about decorating. I've never actually attended one of these because I have no little ones. And
right.
you
But
don't,
what a great idea to confine the space in which the kids move. It's a lot less walking, and then you're not like walking on the streets with cars, right? I mean, I totally get why it would be. It makes it more contained. It makes it a party instead of a meandering up and down the street thing. What a great idea. Some clever parent came up with that, I can tell.
Paula says, I'm the weirdo who hated the driving metaphor, probably because I'm heading out on a road trip this week and my car will be jam-packed. Have to pack clothes for a 30-degree swing in temps, plus have several large items to give to family. On the plus side, I dropped off 6 bags at the thrift store. Well, you can't please everybody, right?
You can't please everybody.
Sorry, Paula.
Oh, that made me laugh really hard. Oh my gosh. That's okay. You're doing the road trip. You're taking the car with a million stuff in it. That's okay. When the road trip's done and all the stuff is out of the car, then maybe you'll be more predisposed to it.
Susie says the assisted living place near me is doing the trunk or treat today along with a barbecue. Something for people who want a little more substance than candy.
Right? It makes it a little more festival like. If there's, some dinner type food happening at the same time, it gives the parents something to do besides watch the kids pull candy into a bag. Cool. I like it.
Suzanne says, I thought it meant adding to our trunks by eating the Halloween candy instead of doling it out. Clean version you have, Ed.
There is that. Good job. Y'all are making me laugh today.
I think we should get on to our main topic. What do you think?
I'm ready to go.
We're about to kick off the season of fun, food, shopping, celebration, and chaos that runs from Halloween into the new year. This year, why not make the holiday season exactly what you want it to be? Today, we're going to offer ideas to streamline the season for yourself and your loved ones with simpler, less stressful, less cluttered approaches to holiday preparations. We're going to start by looking at our survey results. We asked our audience, do you celebrate any holidays in the period from late October to early January? 85% answered yes, 9% answered no, and 6% answered it's complicated. And for the it's complicated, we gave people a chance to tell us why it's complicated. And here are a few of the explanations that respondents offered for their complicated holiday seasons. An anonymous respondent said, no family to share Christmas.
The first thing that I thought was, this is where you get to build a new Christmas tradition to hang out with friends. So you can be that friend that creates a Christmas Eve or Christmas Day event for other people like yourself that are too far away from their family, or they don't have family around and they're sitting at home with nothing to do on Christmas either. And you guys can get together and have a meal and do something entertaining for that group of people. It doesn't have to be kid-centric, of course. You can get together with some other people, and I would wish for that for you, that you reach out and find other people that are in your situation, and you guys create a friend's Christmas instead of a family Christmas.
Sarah says, since COVID, there has been a cliff-like drop-off of holiday time togetherness. Interestingly, the solo effort I had blindly gone about, sending an actual gift to each family member, also ended.
Isn't that interesting? You're right. And COVID interrupted a whole lot of
Everything.
unbreakable traditions that have gone on forever and ever. And COVID was this thing that just like hit the reset button on all kinds of stuff. And so it puts you in the position to make your choices about what you'd rather do instead of what you used to do. Like you said, you did it blindly. You went about doing it. But now you can stop and think about, what would I rather do instead? And maybe instead of getting together with family, maybe you want to get together with some friends instead. Or maybe you don't want to send a gift to each family member, but you want to do something for the whole family instead. Or there's lots of ways that you can very consciously morph what you used to do to what you would rather do now. And go for it. Try. If nobody's doing anything right now anyway, it's a perfect time to try out something new. Offer them an alternative and see what happens.
Do something new and make it simple. Make it, don't add any demands on yourself.
Right.
Or, add as few demands on yourself as you can. Jean wrote, some family far away, some family has drama, some family doesn't celebrate. Running away sounds good.
We've all been there when you show up for the family event and it's just too much going on, right? It's like, I can't deal with all this. So if drama and it's far away and they don't celebrate means that your family isn't willing to participate, then I'm going to circle back to, this is how you build a family of choice and go interact with your friends instead and have a friend's Christmas instead of a family Christmas. Certainly worth spending time with people that you care about. And it doesn't have to be family members. If it's too complicated, if there's too much going on that it doesn't work as a celebration with family, then reach out and interact with your friends. It's a perfect time for that.
We also asked our audience, what is your favorite part of the holiday season and why? Saskatchewan Jane said, every year we have a multi-generational day of lefse making to ensure we all have lefse for Christmas celebrations. That's a Norwegian flatbread.
I had to ask that question because I didn't know the answer, but I like the idea that it's an event. Everybody comes together and they're working on a project. They're all making something and it's consumable. So they make the bread, they dole it out, and then everyone has their stuff that they're going to eat through the season. And then it's done. So it's very, I like that we work on it together, we make something happen, and then we consume it at the end, and that's all part of the tradition. And at the end, there isn't anything left over, which is awesome. I love it.
Evelina says, my favorite part of the holiday season is gift hunting, gift giving, and catching up with friends that I rarely get to see during the year.
And what I found interesting about this is there's something about this time of the year when we make an extra effort to interact with our friends and to do things that we don't normally get around to doing. And it's funny that we muster up the extra energy to do stuff during this season. And then we get to January, we're like, oh, thank God we don't have to do that anymore. I think that we add this extra burden of trying to do a whole bunch of things that we don't normally do during this season, when I would offer that you could try to reach out to your friends a little bit more during the year in less concentration and have that interaction and keeping up with your friends all year round instead of just during this part of the, if you don't get a chance, if you rarely get to see them during the year, making an effort to see them once or twice in the year would be worth it. They're your friends. And if it makes it difficult to do it, it's difficult in the holiday season too. So you might as well spread the effort around during the year and interact with those people more.
And they may be slightly less likely to have a million
Conflicting
other
things, right?
things on their plate. Yeah. Okay. And Summer, who is a kindred spirit, clearly says, Thanksgiving, to me, it's easier than Christmas because only foods, no gifts, church, etc.
Right? Like Thanksgiving's all about that one meal, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking about last night, I was thinking about the Thanksgiving that we did in Galveston that year
Hmm.
and all that great food that you made. It was a fun Thanksgiving. Ed just cooked all the pieces, and it was all it was slightly unusual, slightly off topic Thanksgiving stuff. It was really great. We had a wonderful time.
And we were grilling outside since, that's a pretty typical uh Thanksgiving weather in the Houston area
Right.
is.
It was perfectly pleasant outside. It was not
Yeah.
even remotely cold. So yeah, we had a great time. Yeah, it's all about the meal, right? And somehow it's a meal and it's one day. And so it's a very concentrated holiday, right? You have a day of cooking, a day of eating, and you're done. It was and I'm sure there's lots of other traditions besides, the North American Thanksgiving is our meal day. But I'm sure there across all cultures, there's some kind of fall, harvest, autumn, fill in the blank, eat food holiday,
Yeah,
right?
the fall festivals and Oktoberfests and all sorts of things like
All
that.
things like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, right. Yeah, a perfect time to get together and have some interaction with your family and friends and spend some time together and eat some food and it's consumable again and then it's done. Like that's
Well, and
great.
for me, grocery shopping is the only kind of shopping I enjoy. So
That's so you. It's true.
it is. I would rather be in a grocery store than
Any
any
other
other kind of
store.
store.
Right.
Seriously, I could
Yeah.
see the usefulness of everything in the grocery store.
And I loathe the grocery store so much. I hate being in it. I wander around going, ugh, what do I have to buy? I just
Why?
hate it so
Why?
much.
Why do I have to?
Yeah. Yeah. This is one of the ways that we are the polar opposites for sure.
Okay. We also asked, what is your least favorite part of the holiday season and why?
Right.
And Diana shared, I don't like gift giving for Christmas, especially since trying to declutter. We have an agreement in immediate family not to do gifts. We have a nice meal together, and that's enough.
And it is because really the point of the holiday season is to interact with those people that you care about and spend time with them and make memories in their presence. And so that's great that you dialed it down to what works for you and said we don't need gifts. It's certainly, when you're 6 you feel like you're going to die if you don't get gifts, but when you're 60 it's not the same. It really is like really another thing that I have to do something with, right? So it's very easy to declare gift holiday. I don't need gifts. I just want your presence. I just want to interact. I just want to spend time, because it becomes very obvious what is the most valuable. And spending that time with people you care about is absolutely it.
You can also, use my approach. If you don't feel like having that conversation and telling people, please don't get me anything because I don't want to get you anything, if you just don't get people anything for enough years, they will eventually get the message, or they will keep giving you things, but you'll feel less guilty about it because
Because you
they
made
know
it
what's
perfectly
going on.
clear, right?
Yes.
You
Don't
made it
count on me to
perfectly
buy you
clear.
anything. Jaime
Mhm.
does some shopping and gives gifts on both our behalves. Judy said, getting things out of the attic, getting harder and harder to do as I age.
Yes, exactly. And I just heard, God, in what context was it? I'm taking these CEUs. It may have been as part of a class, but they were talking about a client needed, they were talking about insurance for jobs. And the client needed one of the organizers to go up in the attic to get the Christmas tree down because she couldn't go anymore. And she wanted the tree to come down. And then the person went up into the attic and fell through the roof.
Oh
Fell
my
through the
gosh.
ceiling. And so it's like, yeah. And, it's too hard for you to get up there and you can fall through the ceiling. So you really don't want to go up there anymore. So it was a good idea. Let's stop getting things out of the attic. Let's go up there, get it all out and empty it and have it all come down somewhere else, because none of us need to be up in the attic anymore. That is for sure. Some
Okay.
people have build out portions of the attic, and I guess that's okay. But truthfully, An attic is not a room, and we tend to treat it like one, and then we're surprised when we fall through the ceiling. So
Sorry, I'm not laughing at the person who fell through the ceiling.
right.
Amanda offered this counterpoint to my point of view. She said, LOL, sorry, I'm 40 and a no gift holiday is depressing. You can wrap practical stuff and it's still fun.
And it
Socks,
still
cleaning
counts.
products, replacements for what's worn out around the home.
Okay, that's good.
It's true.
And you put it out there so that everybody knows that's what, there better be a gift. I don't care what it is. Okay, we can, I'm sure everybody can accommodate you around that. That's great. We can send Ed's gifts to you. How's that?
Yes. Yes. If you were thinking of buying me something, send it to Amanda instead. Exactly.
Exactly.
Okay, and finally, an anonymous respondent said, "I hate not being able to spend Christmas with my children and their families. We're just too far apart."
So I have a couple of things to say about that. One is you may be really far apart, and it might be worth the effort to do the traveling to try to get there. And maybe not every year, like maybe the idea of trying to go every year would be way too much, but maybe, once every few years, you make the effort to try to go there. Because a family with kids, trying to get them mobilized and across the country or across the world at Christmas time, like that's unbelievably complex and expensive and difficult. But for one person, the grandparent, the relative that is traveling alone, that's at least a possibility. But the other thing I would say is if you miss hanging out with them, then you are a perfect candidate as well to have a friend's Christmas, so that you can have an event, you can be around people, you can mitigate some of your sadness and feelings of separation by being with other people that you care about, and call them up, FaceTime them in, Zoom them into the room so that they can be there with you a little bit visually. I'm sure you'd appreciate seeing their faces. And if you have a party and Zoom in your kids, how great. Whatever's going on with them, however crazy it is at their house, little kids in pajamas can still come to your party. So via technology these days. So it would be worth it to create an event locally that gives you some relief and some sense of participation and alleviate some of the loneliness, and then invite the kids by electronic means to come and at least say hi and wave at you on the camera. It'd be worth it to do that in between. If you can't face that trip, if the trip is just really, really hard, then make some alternatives, because I don't want you to spend the Christmas being miserable from being away with them and not doing anything at all. Take care of yourself around that. That's what I'm saying. Take care of yourself around that.
Okay, we have time for one more survey question, which was, how ready is your home for any holiday activities that you have planned? 10% said I could start the celebrations tomorrow. 19% said it'll take me a few hours to get ready. 20% said it'll take me a few days. 14% said it'll take me a few weeks. 7% said I'll never be ready, but I'll celebrate anyway. Another 7% said I don't celebrate because of the condition of my home. We're trying to help that 7% especially.
Right.
And 4% said they don't celebrate anything at this time of year. 19% opted for other. We don't have time to get into the details on those responses or your answers to the remaining questions on the survey, but you can check out all the public responses to the survey on our website by visiting cfhou.com/results188.
And yeah, and the 19% that opted for other, that's a fifth of the audience. So a fifth of responses. So that was interesting that it's such a big number.
Yeah,
it's almost the biggest number of every bit of all of them.
Like almost, yeah.
It's up there with the high of the other section. So
it's a complicated time of year.
Right. It's a very complicated time of year.
Okay, how are you going to make it simpler for us?
Okay. It's the perfect time that we're talking about running the holiday gauntlet today, because we actually got a cold front here yesterday and our low overnight was 47 degrees. and the high today is going to be like 62. For Houston, this is very fall weather. I actually turned on the heater so the house wouldn't get below 67 last night. So for me, that's amazing, cool, pleasant, wonderful weather. It's the perfect backdrop for talking about pumpkins and turkeys and Santa's cookies. And you can tell it's fall weather because I'm having, I'm having issues with my throat. Oh, apologies. A side note, I want to recognize that I'm talking about the North American traditions of fall and winter holidays. Forgive me for not covering all the possible variations on other fall and winter traditions. I speak about what I'm most versed in and what is true for most of my local clients. But the premises are the same for any holiday and the decor and family gatherings and events that go with any holiday. So I'm just going to ask you to translate these ideas to your holidays. Wherever you are, the stores are selling holiday decor, seasonal clothing, or traditional foods. And you're planning things with family and following holiday traditions. So just copy and paste these ideas to your holiday traditions. Happy Halloween, by the way. The holiday happens tonight, and then you're going to start thinking about trading those decorations out for Thanksgiving one. So let me make some suggestions to add organizing action items into your holiday preparation. Holiday organizing suggestion number 1. The front end of the holiday preparations, which is now, is the perfect time to sort all that decor you have up to and including the Christmas decor, and decide if it all still needs to live with you. Whatever you put out is probably your favorites, and the rest should be up for discussion. So donate them quick so they can be put out during the season to be purchased and used right away. And even Halloween can go out now to be collected with other holiday gear. You can always offer the excess to any teacher to use in her classroom next year, any senior assisted living facility, any kind of public space that decorates. There's always somebody that can take your excess, but it needs to come out now so that it gets used now. It won't make sense to somebody to collect Christmas donations in July. So this is the season. You have reached the fall of divesting holiday decor. Get it out now. Holiday organizing suggestion number 2. Are you the idea person in the family? Do you love the fill in the blank holiday and have a million creative ideas of how to make the celebration over the top? Good for you. And now is the perfect time for the Clutter Fairy to help you set some realistic expectations. Let's list out all those fabulous ideas on a piece of paper, all the things that you want to decorate with, all the recipes you want to try, all of the gift giving extravaganza plans that you have. Let's list them all out on the piece of paper. Now look at each one and ask yourself, what do you need to do to buy, build, or bake to make it happen?
Or sew. You left out sew.
Or sew, right? You might have to sew it. Exactly. Then ask yourself, how much time do you think it'll take? Now double that estimate for the unseen obstacles in execution, because you know there's going to be some. And once you have realistic time estimates for all the ideas, ask yourself, how much free time do you have to execute some of these? Pick the best 3 ideas and see if you have time to do them. If you do, great. Get started and be open to losing one later on if you need to. If you don't have time to do 3, pick your favorite one, make it happen, and see what kind of time you have left. Resist starting 3 things at once. Idea people always want to start all of them simultaneously. Don't do that. Just do one at a time and get it done before you try to do the next one. Get one done from start to finish before you move on. That's what I'm saying. And I'm covering this as a way to help you manage your stress and your burnout levels over the holidays. And my question for you is, can you tell that I just listened to a class on time management? It's all about managing your time during the holidays, right? You have a lot of commitments, you have a lot going on, and you come up with a bunch of ideas about all the things you want to try to do. And then you get started on all of them and they don't all get completed before the holiday happens, and you don't actually get to execute all of them. So I'm trying to get you to create your list, pick your favorites, see if you can execute 1 or 2 or 3. And if you can get those done before the holidays are over and in time to make them happen, awesome. But don't launch yourself on all 15 of your ideas simultaneously, because then none of them will get done and you'll be mad at the end. So
Well, and doing this preparation will also put you in a position so that when someone else comes to you and says, I would like to, let's do this, you're prepared and you're ready to say, no, I've already committed to this and this and this, or yeah, I could drop this and add your thing instead.
Mm-hmm. I can make a choice about my
Yeah.
time and choose your thing instead of my thing. 100%. Yeah. So it's just an awareness of, just because it's the holidays doesn't mean you have an infinite amount of time. You still have to do work. You still have to do other things, and you're adding in food prep and gift giving and all that other stuff. So you want to create take your ideas and see which ones of them will actually fit into your time constraints. That's what I'm saying. Be conscious about that up front. Holiday organizing suggestion number 3. Whatever the holiday, for Christmas, certainly, but also many others out there, there's some gift giving component. So let's talk about stress management over gifts. First off, you need to pay attention to your budget. It's perfectly reasonable for you to have limits to what you spend. Pick a gift that can be consumed so it gets used up. That makes it easier if you give somebody something that is going to get eaten or burned, or the candle gets burned, the food gets eaten, the fill in the blank. There's all kinds of things that have to be used up, and so
The
they
cigar
come up
gets
with a list.
smoked.
Yes, the cigar gets smoked. Exactly.
How could you forget that one?
I know, right? I've given cigars to my dad before. 100%. So keep that in mind. Whatever crazy gift count you've gotten used to, because there's a gift count, make an effort to reduce it this year by 25%, not only for budget reasons, but also for clutter generating reasons. I'm sure your usual recipients can survive with 2 less gifts than last year. And I'm calling out the grandparents here, by the way. Y'all are the worst. Think of your kids and how much chaos you're creating for the parents to clean up. Don't use your grandkids as an excuse to shop or as permission to buy without any limits at all. They're not your shopping with no consequence tickets. They really aren't. Consider gift experiences over objects. Adults in particular are able to appreciate experiences over objects. It can be a family event too, that it's one gift for the whole family. This is the kind of big ticket items that a grandparent is able to invest in, while a parent of small kids most likely won't have the budget for such a thing. So it's a perfect time for a grandparent to come in and go, I'm going to take the family to Disney World. I'm going to take the family to see the movie, whatever kind of thing like that, that lets you buy all the tickets and everybody goes at your expense to have a good time. Modify your gift buying to match your travel plans. I say this and I have a picture in my head. We all hate that person who gets on the plane, dragging the huge bag stuffed with some oversized gift in it, and they're bouncing that gift down the aisle, and then they're trying to shove that gift in the overhead bin. And it's just like, I always look at that person. I'm like, really? You drag that on the plane for real? If you have to fly, get your gifts shipped there under your name and wrap it at your destination, or concentrate on buying things that you can easily get in a piece of luggage without going overweight. It's perfectly reasonable. When I fly to my family, I order ahead to their house, or I carry small items in the luggage. If I drive there, I can modify my size restrictions, but most often I'm flying, and it's completely crazy for me to buy a toaster oven to take on the plane with me. That's crazy. And so you need to think about that as you're purchasing stuff for your family members if you have to get on a plane. If these ideas of modifying your gift giving make you feel distressed, we might need to talk about why you're giving gifts and what you expect to get out of it. It's important to be aware of what motivates you to be so over the top about gifts. Even if gift giving is your love language, you can plan gifts that are not an undue burden to you to acquire or to the recipient to receive. Just a thought. If it's really, really important for you to give gifts that are very stressful and difficult for you to manage for a whole bunch of reasons. And we have to have a conversation about, why is it worth it to you? What is really missing here? And is there another way for you to get comfortable besides stressing yourself out about gift giving? Hi, Cookie. Cookie's wandering down the hall. Holiday organizing suggestion number 4. Food is love and tradition, and it varies from person to person and table to table. So set those traditions to your taste and your energy level. It's okay to let those traditions evolve over time. As the kids grow up, as you get older, as the family expands or shrinks, if preparing that food tradition seems like a huge effort that's very stressful, that's a sign it's time to pass the tradition to another younger family member or to pare down the tradition to your energy level. Sure, the family hates change, but life is full of change, and they've been benefiting from your hard work all these years. So don't continue anything that feels like it's too much for you now. The kids all want it because they haven't ever had to do the work. For anyone that's just eating results, they'll always wish for it to continue to happen. You have to make your chore based on what you feel capable of doing, not what those who eat wish for. And I say that because I know people who put on, Thanksgiving dinner for 30 people. And it is a huge amount of work. It's a nightmare.
Are you going to Ann and Bob's this year?
I am. They're a perfect example of that, right? Like they always have a huge Thanksgiving meal. Now, Bob is a great cook. Ann likes to cook. And, they put in the effort and make it happen. But I have to tell you that at the end of that meal, the two of them are sitting around, look like somebody ran over them with a truck. Like we show up on the day and sit down and have great food and conversation and pie and go home happy. Well, and they look like somebody beat them about the head with a stick.
Bob only looks distressed because he hasn't had time to go back through his spreadsheet to make sure he didn't forget anything.
I know that cooks find Thanksgiving to be the ultimate gauntlet. It's like the great, meal of all things that challenge. There's lots of people. There's, certain ingredients that need to be used. And it becomes this, can I face the challenge of the cooking of the Thanksgiving, right?
It's 9:53. I'm supposed to be done chopping parsley by now.
Right. So I get it that there are some people that find that to be entertaining, but we all run out of steam eventually. And sometimes we overcommit, and sometimes events grow beyond our capacity, right? Like if you're good at it and it's popular, and every year more people have added to the list and the family's added kids, and there's a new spouse, and now I got to invite the mother-in-law, and it just grows and grows and grows until it's this massive thing. Unless you're the guy who's the guy that does the world kitchen, who he's famous for restaurants, and he does this food delivery in disaster areas. And
Jose Andres.
Yeah. Thank you. Unless you're that guy who is professionally prepared to supply an ever bigger audience, no matter what's going on, you're going to hit your limit at some point. And so dialing it down to something that makes sense for you is totally totally reasonable, is what I'm saying. And, yes, there's going to be somebody who says, but you didn't make the blah de blah casserole. That's my favorite. And now Thanksgiving is ruined. Then you can say, you know what? If you want that casserole, you can make it. It's too much work. You're totally within your rights to do that. And I appreciate that people that love to cook and give food, it is a love language to give food to your family, and you can still be giving them love and modify the amount that you prepare, or how you prepare it, or how many varieties of dishes you make, or fill in the blank. So those of us who eat without doing any work appreciate your efforts. And we will also understand, I'm going to say, I understand if it's too much and you need to dial it down. And, anybody that has the gall to look at you and say, I'm mad at you because you didn't work harder for me. Needs to be slapped. I'm just saying. They just need to be slapped. Okay.
Okay.
That's my holiday commentary.
Susie commented, donating now reminds me that I need to clean some jackets so I can donate them before the winter weather.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
This is the seasonal change time.
Yeah, if you have cold weather stuff that you are not wearing anymore, this is the time to get rid. This is the time to donate, thrift.
Yeah, go put it into those stores, the thrift stores that are going to make them available, or donate them to the shelters. They're going to use it immediately. So now's the time. And because they give them out, and then at the end of the winter season, they're out of supplies. They've given it all out, right? So now's the time to restock everybody, and perfect time to go in the kids' closet and pull out. They can't wear this anymore. This is too small, whatever. And I moved from New York City, and I brought 15 coats with me, and I live in Houston now, and I can't possibly wear these coats ever again because
Right.
Oh my God. And then somebody will always say, but I go home and visit. I'm like, yeah, you go home for a week, so you need 2 coats. You don't need 20. When you live there and it's cold for 6 months in a row, it makes sense that you have 20 coats. But when you go back for a week at a time, you don't need 20 coats. So pick your favorites and let the rest go. That's what I'm saying. Modify your supplies for where you live, and how often you actually go visit cold weather.
Deborah reports, I had a Friendsgiving a couple of days ago. This is between Canadian and American Thanksgiving, and I chose the day to coincide with a dear friend's birthday. I forgot how much work a turkey dinner is, especially without any convenience foods where I live.
Right? It's a lot of work. It certainly is. But how great that you tied it to the birthday and got all your friends together. I love it. At least if you're going to work that hard, you should be able to sit with your friends and drink wine and have good food. Share all of your hard efforts with people you care about. Good for you. But it was fun.
Ginger says, I make holiday planner pages in my planner. Important dates, to do, to buy, to mail, gifts, menu.
So you're adding all the holiday related tasks on your to-do list. That's very great. I like the planning pages.
Susie
suggested
helpful. How about tickets for something like movies, theater, museum, etc.? And M chimed in with, and a ride there if the person has no car.
Oh, what a great idea.
That's a really thoughtful
right gift. To pay for the Uber or the Lyft to take people. That's great. What a great idea. I wouldn't have thought of that, but that's excellent.
Yeah, or be the ride, provide the ride. Amanda says, Secret Santa is a good way to cut down on extended family gifting excess. And you can set a decent budget to get a nice item since everyone's only buying for one person.
Right. Yeah, I think when the extended family is really big, you can't possibly buy for everybody. That's an undue burden on everyone. So the idea that you would Secret Santa and everybody picks a name and one gift exchanges around everyone, it acknowledges the season. Everybody gets a gift, and it's not an undue burden. And I think that's a great idea. There are some families with extended family, and they've got 30 people or 40 people all told. And how could you get a gift for everybody? You can't. So good solution.
On the food side, Naomi says, my mother-in-law's Thanksgiving tradition was to forget to serve the salad.
Clearly not the important part of the meal for her.
I wonder if she was forgetting, or if it was there, I have to have salad in case anyone says, wait, aren't we having salad? But right. I don't have to put it out.
But I don't have to do anything with it. I don't have to
get it out of the fridge.
My grandmother's holiday tradition was to burn the dinner rolls because it was the last thing, and she would always put it in and then come sit at the table and forget them. And then they would be turned into crispy critters. Like by the time we would smell it, it would be way too late. And that was her holiday tradition.
Were they homemade or store-bought?
I can't remember. I don't remember.
They were probably store-bought, because if you put all the work into preparing bread dough, you're not going to forget it's in the oven.
Yeah, you're probably right. They were probably store-bought, because I don't have any memories of her making dough.
Okay.
So it must have been, she put her packages into the
Brown and serve.
yeah, put them in the oven, and they probably forgot about them. And we would start to smell smoke, and there would be the collective, the rolls. It would be too late. That happened a lot.
We every Thanksgiving I've ever been to, it seems like there are 24 brown and serve rolls at the beginning, and there are 24 brown and serve rolls when we're putting away leftovers,
Right.
because you've got your potatoes and your this starchy casserole and the stuffing
The
or
stuffing.
dressing and all the carbs you're trying to leave room for at dessert.
There's definitely a heavy carb load without the bread.
Who needs factory produced brown and serve rolls? No
I know,
thanks.
right? When there's more stuffing to be had. It's true. It's totally true. Yeah,
Uh,
I'm relegated to the roll producing at Ann and Bob's house. They don't trust me to bring any actual food. So I end up bringing rolls, which is fine by me because I cannot, there would be nothing to produce that would be appropriate on a table of things that Ann and Bob have prepared. So I'm happy to go
or
find some
Joan.
rolls.
Oh my gosh,
I know
Joan.
Joan is a serious cook too.
Can
That's
she
right.
cook? Oh
Their
man.
daughter. Yeah, yeah.
Connie says there's a story about a Tanta Yolesh who was asked on her deathbed what her secret was of her special casserole. Her reply, never made enough.
That is perfect. Make a smaller quantity and leave them wanting more.
Exactly. Always leave them wanting more.
Oh, that's great. It's so funny. There's, even food, there's traditions that are cherished around food making and food consumption.
Ellen says, if I do a holiday meal these days, it is usually a protein, a vegetable, and a carb. Maybe if I have the time and energy, a fruit salad or dessert. And as much as I love to cook, yeah, my tendency in recent years has been, how can we simplify this? We really don't need the sweet potatoes with the marshmallows and also the mashed potatoes and also the dressing and also, some people, if you get enough people, you're gonna end up requiring 20 dishes. And
Right.
practically speaking, you can't enjoy 20 dishes unless you're planning to just eat nonstop for 3 days, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'll
And not
go
throw
to,
out half of it as leftovers that are dead.
yeah, and I feel that compulsion to put a little of everything on my plate. So if anyone's watching, they can see I did not neglect their contribution.
Yes, yes, yes.
And the reality is I want, like one nice slice of white meat turkey and mashed potatoes with no gravy, because why do you want to ruin mashed potatoes with gravy? Mashed potatoes are already perfect without gravy. And then I don't know what my third can't live without it thing is, but
Brussels sprouts.
and M adds, good idea. The important part is the people.
Yes, yes, 100%. I mean, the whole point of all these holiday traditions is for everybody to get together with people that they love and, community, and to have community amongst yourselves. And so those who are in the background doing all of the work to make everything happen, they miss out on some of the community. They are suffer and exhausted. And, it's a lot of work for everybody to go, wow, that meal was great. And I can't imagine what it must feel like as a cook to spend 36 hours working on food and have it be consumed in 20 minutes. Like, there must be something about that that's so disappointing. Like, if I spent 36 hours trying to get this food on the table, why isn't it taking you 2.5 hours to eat it at least? Like, why? How can it be done so quickly after I worked so hard on it? I don't know. I guess chefs are used to that. Like, they put a bunch of effort in, it gets demolished in a hurry, and they're satisfied with that. But I always feel like, wow, the time to consume it should reflect the amount of effort that went into making it. Never happens that way.
No. No, well, you would have to eat for 3 days, you know?
Right.
Okay, this is the first eating period. Pace yourselves because we'll be back after our next nap.
Right. After the nap, we're coming for more.
Jane says, it's funny how strong holiday memories are. My
Mm,
mom made store-bought crescent rolls. It was my job to roll them up, and I still think they're yummy.
right. And it was a way for a little kid to participate in the prep, right? Like as a little kid, you were standing around wanting attention and wanting to be part of whatever was going on. And this was a safe way for your mother to let you be involved and be part of the process and not destroy her dishes. So you got to roll the crescent rolls, which is kind of like, it's like crafting in the kitchen that you have to roll up the
And they're
right.
and they're awfully good. There's so much
Right.
butter or butter stand-in. I don't know,
Well, whatever makes their flavor,
lard
right?
plus butter seasoned butter flavoring or something. I don't know what they make them with, but they are
Who
so
knows, right?
gooey delicious. Um,
Right.
counterpoint from D in the Sierras, who says brown and serve rolls mean holidays to me. They were at
uh,
every family holiday dinner.
right. It's part of what you get used to, right? Totally.
Well, and
I remember. Go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was just going to say, um, there were all we didn't the roles were never really emphasized at our family gatherings. I think because there are always so many forms of bread at every Gumnick family gathering that you don't really need to worry about the dinner rolls as well.
Right. That's so funny. I was thinking about, I can't remember in what context I was remembering this, but I was remembering the story of somebody who said, maybe it was from our group last year, that some kid said, you didn't make the green bean casserole, Thanksgiving is ruined.
Wow.
Right? Like we get really attached to our traditions, but they're really just, what we're used to, right? So if somebody, you can participate in supporting the chefs by, if they don't do something, you don't give them a hard time about it. You eat what they serve. That's the rule. If you're not the cook, you shut up and eat what you're served.
Okay, I'm giving the last comment to Samudra because it's a
Okay.
prize winner.
Okay.
Samudra says, when I was a young wife, we went to his aunt's for Thanksgiving. A couple of hours after dinner, I went in to get some coffee. His cousin came in and said, I feel like a turkey sandwich. Me too, I said. When I turned around, she was making a sandwich. Oh, you meant you felt like eating a turkey sandwich, I said.
So you're so funny. Thank you for sharing that story. Yes, I would have interpreted it the same way.
Okay, we are running out of time.
Okay.
I want to remind
Oh,
everyone that we'll be back for our next live webcast on Tuesday, November 7th at noon US Central Time, which will be back in sync with the time you're used to seeing us
right.
in places that have already made their time change. Next week, we're going to talk about the resourceful places that people stash their excess stuff. Storage units, parents' houses, second homes, backyard sheds, and so on. These hideaways aren't a real solution to your clutter problem, and they come at a cost: the time, money, and effort of warehousing your collection of deferred decisions. We'll unpack ways to get the deep storage monkey off your back. Join us on November 7th for Deep Storage. Forgotten is not the same as gone.
True that. Okay, it's time for the weekly tittle.
Yes, it is.
The tittle is titled A Season for You. This week's assignment is to set intentions about how you'd like to spend the holiday season. Your objectives may relate to shopping, gift giving, cooking, entertaining, or any other aspect of winter or holiday celebrations that are important to you. So make a list of 3 intentions that you'd like to keep as your focus for your holiday celebrations this year. And here are some examples. I will shop for gifts only for people on my list, and I will stay strictly within my budget. That's a good intention. I will use minimal favorite decorations and resist the temptations to add to my collection. No adding to the decor this year. In the interest of self-care, I will accept no more than one party invitation or social engagement per week in December. So those are just examples. You can set your intentions for what you think are important, but the idea is to decide what you want to support yourself with this year, and let's make it one of your intentions. Post that list somewhere where you can see it and you can refer to it every day. Slap it up on the refrigerator, stick it on the bathroom mirror, whatever makes it easier for you to see it and keep it top of mind. If you feel the demands of your life and other people's needs and desires starting to encroach on your holiday plans, consult your 3 wise choices, go look at your intentions, and remind yourself what you're aiming for this year. When in doubt, err on the side of your peace of mind and your happiness. Your happiness is a generous gift that you can share with your loved ones, so you want to nurture it. You want to make sure that you are keeping yourself, doing your self-care so that you present someone who feels loving and filled up to your family instead of someone who is stressed out and drained and has nothing to give.
Wrung out.
Right? Wrung out. If you choose not to celebrate any holidays this season, then set intentions about how you'll care for your health, happiness, and sanity while those around you are celebrating. If it's not your thing, if you're not into it, that's a choice too. And so you can protect your own intentions around not participating, and set those intentions and keep up with your own peace of mind too. Go do your survey, come back and tell us how it went. Next week, we'll be back to talk about working on the storage unit. It's the season for starting to do those areas that have no climate control. And so now you can get outside and deal with it because it's not too miserable hot. That's where we're going.
If you're watching this on YouTube, we would love for you to join us live. To get notifications about upcoming events, we invite you to join the meetup group by visiting cfhou.com/meetup. You can also follow us on Facebook by visiting cfhou.com/Facebook, or join our mailing list by visiting cfhou.com/subscribe. We love to hear from you, so please send us your questions, comments, and topic suggestions on YouTube, Facebook, or anywhere that you find us. You can always reach us through our website at clutterfairyhouston.com.
We love to hear from you. We say that every week because we enjoy it so much. So thank you for participating in our community. We're glad that you're here, and we are going to help you ride out your holiday season. We'll do it together. So see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.